were you out there, like I said, plying your trade, doing your thing before things clicked?
Well, I made the jump to penciling comics because before that I was working in advertising, and I made the jump to penciling comics in 1992. Sometimes I say. But before that, my first job in the industry was as an intern in DC. That was in 1989.
Wow.
So in '92, that's when I first started getting a little bits of work here and there. But it didn't really become steady, regular work until about 1999. So I was doing comics the entire time. But it was a lot of indie work, like for Dark Angel and for other small companies, and like the occasional fill-in over at DC or Marvel for most of that time. And then in '99, I actually decided to get out of comics.
I remember that, yeah.
I got out of comics and I got a job at Sony Animation doing storyboards. And I was at Sony Animation for about 4 months.
Which is where, by the way?
Los Angeles.
Okay, so you gotta understand, folks.
Yes,
the man was born, raised, and living in New York City. Moved to California.
Yes.
Okay, the other side of the country. Go on.
Moved to Los Angeles. I was in Los Angeles for about 4 months working at Sony when Bobby Chase, who used to be an editor at Marvel, called me and offered me New Warriors, which at the time was being written by Jay Ferber. So I actually had to think about it because I had just made this like massive life-changing move to the West Coast. But at the same time, this was the first time anybody even offered me a shot at doing a regular series. So I figured this might be my last chance to do comics. So let me go and take a shot. And I ended up working for Marvel for about a year.
While living in California?
And then that work started to dry up. And I couldn't get any animation work in California because the domestic animation market was collapsing at the time. And I decided to move back to New York. So I started the drive back to New York. I made it as far as New Mexico before wrecking my car, rear-ending a semi.
Through a sort of paranormal snowstorm?
Yes, it was a blizzard. It was the worst blizzard in the past 3 years of New Mexican history.
Yeah, New Mexican history. Lock that in, folks. New Mexican history. Okay.
Who knew it snowed in New Mexico? I saw snow in Arizona. I was like, wait a minute. That's a lot of work. What? And then I was driving in New Mexico and got caught in a snowstorm. It was something out of a Stephen King novel. It was just the most bizarre.
There you go.
It was just very, very bizarre. So I eventually landed back in New York after a couple of days, scrounging money. I was working as a receptionist for a law firm for 3 months, but on my lunch hours, I would go to DC and show my portfolio around. I eventually started getting pickup work. Last issue here, two issues there. But I made myself indispensable. I had a very specific plan at the time where I would work on a book for 3 weeks straight. I wouldn't leave the house. I would just stay. I would work 7 days a week for 3 weeks straight, and then I would rest for a week, and then I would start the next project, and I would just plow through. So I became
the go-to guy.
I became a utility player.